Hello again, denizens of the YouTuberverse. I'm starting another episode of Occam's Barbershop here. Today I'm going to be going over the signal controversy. It's been highly irritating the way it's been reported in the media, and none of the commentary, even from the conservative side, focuses on the real problem that came up with this signal controversy. So I'm going to start by going over the transcript of what happened there. And it was published in The Atlantic, and because it's entered the internet space, you can find copies of it elsewhere. I did not want to go and get a subscription to The Atlantic. There's no way I would pay that rag for anything. But if you look around, you can find other people have downloaded it, and it is available. So we're going to start out here. We have Mike Waltz added you to this group, and when we get to the next page, we'll see you is JG for Jeff Goldberg. And then this is another official whose name will pop. I don't remember who it is right off at the moment. So the information we have here is Mike Waltz is the one who's creating this group ostensibly. But apparently it was his deputy Alex Wong who really was creating this list. Mike Waltz has said that he doesn't know Goldberg and doesn't know how he got added to the list. He doesn't have his contact information. And the contact with Jeff Goldberg is the central problem here. Not that anybody was talking about this stuff on Signal. That's just fine. That would have been perfectly okay if Jeff Goldberg had not been added to the group. The only problem with this is that Jeff Goldberg was added. So we don't really know for sure who that was. It may have been this Alex Wong character. Mike Waltz said he doesn't know the guy, doesn't have his contact information. So we have the people who are starting to check in, say who they are. And the timeline in The Atlantic, there are other sources have described the timeline of this chat as reported in The Atlantic. A lot of the timestamps don't seem to are either missing or don't seem to be in the right order, and the news sites that have reported the missing timestamps have just used what Atlantic reported. I'm not going to do that. I would not give any credibility to something that was just reported in The Atlantic. I want to see it on this screen grabs. So we have the different personnel. See, Mike Needham. I don't know if that was Mike Needham personally, but at least somebody representing the State Department. And then they talk about they're using the high side inboxes. This chat on Signal, I guess you could describe it as classified, which is fine. The Signal is the gold standard for encrypted communication. It is a very secure way of doing this. And but the real secret stuff is done in the high side, and it's that could be anything from an encrypted government system to paper documents. High side doesn't indicate specifically the medium. It indicates that it's top secret and is handled at a much higher level of secrecy. So this group chat is secret. It's the only people who should have been in it would have been the only people who knew about it if some fool hadn't added Jeff Goldberg. And then there's been some controversy about J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth discussing the messaging and the reasoning behind this strike. J.D. Vance is saying he doesn't like the idea that we're helping out Europe by making sure this trade route is open. The U.S. really doesn't use it, so it's not really something that's in our interest to worry about. Pete Hegseth is arguing later on in the chat here that we have to protect shipping lanes. That's our job. We're the only ones that can do it. But the real reason for it was the Biden administration had given some really feeble responses to the Houthis firing at American naval vessels. And it's always been the Trump policy that if you fire on American military facilities, there will be hell to pay. So basically what's happening here is because Biden gave such a weak response to the Houthis attacking American Navy ships, that's over now. We're going to pound them into the ground for doing that, which is the very legitimate thing to do. That's what should have been done in the first place. So Pete Hegseth goes in to talk about responding to J.D. Vance's concerns, and in the end, everybody agrees, yeah, we should do this. And all of this looks like it was the morning of, several hours before the strikes. And then suddenly we jump to 11:44. This is one where the time is just reported in the Atlantic. In the text it says 11:44 time now, but the timestamp down here that would indicate when this message was sent is missing. It's just reported in the Atlantic as being 11:44. So there's no way to know for sure if this message was actually sent before or during the strikes. It looks like it was at least typed up prior to the strikes, but it's not clear if it was sent before the strikes. I'd have to do more investigating to see if that was the case. And in any case, there's nothing in this that would have been helpful to the Houthis, even if there was any way they could have gotten access to it. There is no possibility that they were going to be hacking signal messages real time. It just couldn't possibly happen. So there was no way they could get access to this. And even if they could have gotten access to this, it wouldn't have given them any information that would have been helpful. The only thing they would have known is that a bunch of their people are about to die, maybe even me. I don't know what's being hit here. I just know that a strike is about to take place. I don't know if it's coming my way or if it's going to be in the location a couple of miles down the road. Don't know what's going to happen. So even if the Houthis had gotten this, it wouldn't have helped them. But there was no possibility that they could have gotten it unless Jeff Goldberg called them and told them about it, because this is a secure app. The discussion was secure, other than Jeff Goldberg being included in the app. So, and then we jump to much later. Again, we don't have timestamps here. We have 12:13, which is prior to the launches, but we don't know if that comment is in response to the previous one that's timed at 11:44, or if it was has nothing to do with the previous entry. And then it jumps again to much later. So the timeline of all of this is very unclear. But what we do know is that all of the people in the conversation except for Goldberg were people who should have been there. It's perfectly legitimate that they were talking about this subject, and the conversation was completely confidential. There was no way for anybody other than the people who were involved in it to have any access to it, other than somebody included Jeff Goldberg. And this is the initial screen. This is JGU. That's Goldberg being added, and it sort of looks like he was added at the very end there, that he got added right before everything started. So that's very, very suspicious. And then we have some of the other people who are listed as members of this group chat. There are a total of 19. I think Mike Waltz also said that there was one person who was supposed to be included in the group chat who did not attend, and it may be the case that this Goldberg got added instead of that person somehow. And so what I want to focus on, and what I'm going to be talking about in the rest of this post, is that Goldberg being in the chat is the problem, and it's the only thing that we should be looking into right now. Everything else is fine. The Signal app is secure. The people involved in this conversation were talking about confidential, possibly classified information. It doesn't really even matter because there's no way anybody could have access to it if some person had not included Jeff Goldberg. That is the only issue that needs to be dealt with. In the media reporting on this Signal issue, the media has been going on and on about how the White House officials discussing this in a Signal chat is a gross violation of national security. It's insecure. It could be leaked. Information could get out, and that's just not true. I looked up the Signal site on X to see if they're responding to this situation, and they are. They say, right now there are a lot of new eyes on Signal. Not all of them are familiar with secure messaging and its nuances, which means there's misinfo flying around that might drive people away from Signal and private communications. Signal app is secure. The whole thing was secure, except for somebody added Jeff Goldberg. One piece of misinformation we need to address is the claim that there are vulnerabilities in Signal. This isn't accurate. Reporting on a Pentagon advisory memo appears to be at the heart of this misunderstanding. The memo used the term vulnerability in relation to Signal, but it had nothing to do with Signal's core tech. It was a warning against phishing scams targeting Signal users. And if you don't know what a phishing scam is, it's a type of cybercrime, involves tricking people into giving away sensitive information. And it's usually something like a link in an email. Click on this link, takes you to a fake email site, something like that. In this case, the phishing scam involved QR codes because you can link your Signal app to other devices via QR code. And I have actually done that. I have a Signal app on my phone, and I have linked it to one of my Linux PCs and to a Windows 11 VM running within that Linux PC. So my Signal phone app is linked to 2 other devices, an actual computer running Linux and a virtual machine running Windows 11. So the communication was secure. Absolutely secure. No problem there. The only problem was that Jeff Goldberg got added to the communication. And there are those who say that this communication should have been held in a SCIF. This is a type of SCIF. It's basically like a shipping container that's been set up with stuff inside so that you can hold conversations, and because of the shipping container, it basically works as a Faraday cage. Signals can't go in and out, so you are completely isolated in this thing. If you work at the White House, they'll have rooms that are set up to be like this, a Faraday cage, and completely air-gapped from everything outside. And they could have held this conversation in a skiff, and it would have been more secure, arguably, than a signal chat, unless you invite Jeff Goldberg. And if you do that, then it's no longer a secure situation. So the only issue that needs to be dealt with is, how did Jeff Goldberg get included in all of this stuff? So the issue that needs to be cleared up is how this individual, Jeff Goldberg of The Atlantic, was included in this chat. Like, why is somebody in the military or the intelligence community including people like this in their contact list? That seems very, very suspect, and that is what needs to be looked into. It's like, who added him to this classified chat? I mean, the chat was absolutely fine. The only problem was that somebody added Jeff Goldberg to it. And that should not have happened. There should have been no way that happened, either accidentally or on purpose. How government employees would have somebody like this in a signal list can be kind of explained by a recent CNN article. They talk about the Signal app. It was dated March 25th. That's when it was last updated. But they talk about Signal, and they say data security experts largely agree that Signal is the gold standard for encrypted communications. And what do they recommend that encrypted communications be used for? Journals have encouraged government workers to contact them through end-to-end encrypted platforms like the messaging app Signal. So what they're saying there is, if you have illicit conversations with reporters, if you're like spilling classified or confidential material to reporters, do it with the Signal app so you can get away with it. And that is what is concerning about this reporter being added to this conversation, is it seems that we have somebody in the military defense establishment who is spilling classified information to the press. And that is the leak. So that is the problem. Somebody who is cooperating with a hostile press that doesn't care if it damages national security, as long as they can get some dirt on the Trump administration. What they got is not dirt on the Trump administration. It's dirt on how journalists behave in operating within contacts with government officials. So that is the issue here. How did this guy end up on this chat? The chat is absolutely fine. What they talked about is absolutely fine. The software that they use to do it is absolutely fine. The only issue is that this individual, Jeff Goldberg, was included in the chat. So I would say that the administration needs to look into how this guy got included in a Signal chat group, and why anybody in any of these offices would have somebody like him or any other journalist in their contact list. So that's an issue that I'm probably going to be coming back to until more commentators on the conservative side finally, look at this issue for what it is. That this guy got inside That is the issue, not what they were talking about, not the description of the attacks that were about to take place. It's that this guy was in the chat room, because there's no way that any of this could have been leaked if he was not there to leak it. So I'll be following up with this issue, and thanks for listening, and I'll see you again soon.